The NBA Finals are not even over yet, but the trade rumors and interest are reportedly growing, this time surrounding Bulls talented guard Ayo Dosunmu. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go and get into this content today, y'all. And I don't like this. So we got a couple of sources in regards to some teams that are reported to have some interest in Ayo Dosunmu. These are not like trade packages or rumors or anything like this, and take these with big grain of salt. I want to be clear there. I'm not reporting this as something that's even been offered by the Bulls for sure, but it is something that is the talk is out there, and we got a couple of articles that we're sourcing this from as well in regards to that. So we're not pulling this out of nowhere. So we have the Detroit Pistons, the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Golden State Warriors as teams that be interested in having having a trade for Ayo Dosunmu. I'm sure there are more teams that are interested, but these are the teams that we have now. The Golden State Warriors one is the one that we have the most depth on, right? And so we'll start there with the Golden State Warriors. It's reported that the Golden State Warriors have interest in Ayo Dosunmu in a package that would include Jonathan Kuminga coming with the Chicago Bulls and Nikola Vucevic. Now, this is still, take it with a grain of salt. I want to be clear here because in a Jonathan Kuminga sign-in trade, only half of his base level compensation would count towards salary matching. Now, Ayo Dosunmu's contract being around $7 million would mean that you're not adding a whole bunch of extra salary to that. We did hear rumors as well that Kobe White could be something that's interested in that they're interested in as well in a separate move. And this could be something as a pivot. Right now, we've heard before that at the trade deadline, there were a lot of teams reported interested in Ayo Dosunmu then. This could be some of the leftovers from that kind of trickling in. So take that as well when we have these conversations. But a deal around Jonathan Kuminga is reported. He's been the interest around Kuminga has been there for a while. Like we keep hearing that that's linking him to the Chicago Bulls. I have my doubts on how much that deal could realistically get done. This is more realistic, for example, than the Kobe White scenario, just because of the money that counts towards that. In a sign and trade with a restricted free agent, only half their base level compensation counts towards salary matching. So having smaller contracts makes that kind of more feasible. This still seems like a deal that just is not realistic in my personal opinion. And I would question on how that would get done and the interest there. And getting rid of defense for more offense really doesn't sound like it makes sense to me personally. But we'll see what it comes down to on that one, right? I don't want to move Ayo. I want to be clear here. Ayo's the one I really don't want to move. But if the Bulls, if the rumored focus on getting Jonathan Kuminga is real, this is a deal that I guess makes a little bit more sense, but I want to know how else you're making this. There has to be other pieces to make this move work, meaning that there has to be another player coming from the Golden State Warriors still. Now it could be a smaller contract, and I would think that if the Bulls are doing that, they're getting something back, maybe second-round picks or something like that, not giving up anything. But then again, with the Chicago Bulls, you never know for sure. So take that one. Now, the next set of rumors that we have actually comes from Last Word on Sports. Now, I've tried to do my research on them to see how much validity they have, and you can trust them. They've been around reportedly since 2011. I've never really heard of them, but they have a couple of destinations out for Ayo Dosunmu, one of those being the Houston Rockets. And in this, they cite that the Rockets stand out as an appealing option for Dosunmu as they lack backcourt depth behind Fred VanVleet. Dosunmu would be able to come off the bench as an efficient role player for Ime Udoka's defensive-minded squad. His ability to guard multiple positions would provide the Rockets with more flexibility when scheming on defense. Now, the Houston Rockets are a team that a lot of people are expecting to try to use number 10 and one of their stars to go out, one of their young stars, and Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, whoever, to go after another star. Now, where this could make some sense at is that if you make that move for a star, maybe then at that point the Houston Rockets are more apt to give up maybe a younger piece for a more sure piece, or maybe some picks in that case. We'll see. In this article, it also says this: the Rockets are in a position where the moves they make this offseason will define their trajectory for the rest of the decade. They have the young talent to become a contender in the West, but they need further to round out their team. Dosunmu makes a great candidate to be a key role player for Houston with affordable, team-friendly contract of $7 million a year. But he's up for an extension at the end of the year. And that's the question that you have to factor into all this as well. He's up for an extension. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. If the Houston Rockets really are interested after making a larger trade, it may make sense that they want to make another smaller trade to shore up some of the things that they may have sent out in that, or to make the team kind of fit better around the offensive-minded player that they can get. So I can see it, the interest being there, but I don't know at that point, unless it is Cam Whitmore, that the Bulls would be interested in. Like, if you're telling me, I don't want to lose Ayo. I want to be clear here. I don't want to lose Ayo Dosunmu. I want to see him stay with the Chicago Bulls. But if you're telling me that to save some money, you do something like that, maybe you can start selling me on it depending on what else is in the deal. But then again, I'm still looking at it and saying, to me, I don't like it personally. But Cam Whitmore is 20 years old, so he's, 5 years younger than Ayo Dosunmu. He's still on his rookie scale contract until the end of the 26-27 season. So you have 2 more years under a rookie scale contract, and so you're not doing the Josh Giddey thing where you're trading for a player and immediately the year after you have to make a decision on a contract extension. So they're kicking that can down the road a little bit. But again, that's all speculation. So I don't know is what I'll say. I don't know. Yeah, I think that would be a setup move to something else that happens down the road. So take that for what you will. The next team that Last Word Sports mentioned, or the next team, not last team, the next team that they mentioned is the Detroit Pistons. Now, we do know that the Detroit Pistons were sniffing around Ayo Dosunmu. It sounds weird. We're pursuing or interested, making calls on an Ayo Dosunmu trade at the trade deadline, right? And I think that's what this is built around. In this article, they say the Pistons previously expressed interest in Dosunmu 2 years ago around the 23 trade deadline. While the Pistons' outlook has shifted drastically since then, Dosunmu still stands out as an ideal fit with their current roster. Dosunmu's versatility and ability to guard the perimeter would boost the team's backcourt defense, especially when Cade Cunningham is sitting on the bench. The Pistons finished with a top 10 defensive rating in the NBA this season, making him a great fit for Coach J.B. Bickerstaff. Okay. And so here they say this. Malik Beasley, he is a free agent at the end of this year. Jaden Ivey could play on the court with Ayo Dosunmu as well. But if the Detroit Pistons are calling for Ayo Dosunmu, I want Jaden Ivey. I want to be clear here because I need another guard off the bench. Now, I know he started for that Detroit Pistons team last year. But maybe you can work a sign and trade with Malik Beasley, bring some shooting. I don't know. Again, it's difficult for me to talk about this because I don't want to trade Ayo Dosunmu. I'm just going to be 100% real with y'all on this one. I don't want to trade Ayo Dosunmu. So any trade that comes in with Ayo Dosunmu, I'm already looking at like, all right, what you got? Like, cool. I'm not here to help other teams become great. I'm here to continue to try to be better if I'm the Chicago Bulls. And this type of move just screams to me like, I don't know. It seems one-sided to me. The next team that's listed here by Last Word Sports is the Dallas Mavericks, saying this: Dosunmu to Dallas is the final destination that makes sense from a logistical standpoint. With Kyrie Irving rehabbing an ACL tear at 33 years old and Spencer Dinwiddie approaching unrestricted free agency, the Mavericks need some assistance at point guard. The Mavericks front office has repeatedly stated its commitment to being a defensive-minded team. Dosunmu would be able to take some of the pressure off Kyrie next season, who will likely be on limited minutes to start the season. With Anthony Davis and likely Cooper Flagg locking down the front court, Dosunmu would have less pressure but still an important role, being one of the lead defenders in the backcourt. Dosunmu's off-ball offense will complement Davis and Flagg well, allowing him to potentially have a career-high season in assists. I'm not here to help Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis be great. And honestly, looking at the Dallas Mavericks, You got Daniel Gafford, you got Derek Lively, you got PJ Washington. I would assume that one of those guys are going to be in the deal, but I don't like any of those guys as much as Ayo. Now, I understand to improve as a team and to gain assets, you have to move pieces that you want, right? It's very rare that you're able to just move pieces that you don't want on your team and to get something back that's going to be anything meaningful. I understand that. But this still seems like something that is more geared towards helping other teams and picking apart the Chicago Bulls. And I don't like that. I don't like that aspect of things. I'm not here for other teams to pick apart at the Chicago Bulls to try to get what they need, and then we're left once again looking like, all right, what's next for us? And we know that this is a team that's not going to be tanking. So what are these teams offering? Right? To go back to the Houston Rockets deal. Most of their first-round picks are probably going to go for the star that they're trying to trade for this offseason. What does that leave the Chicago Bulls? What does that leave the Bulls? So I don't know, man. The Warriors, I get with the interest in Kuminga. Basically, any Bulls player is going to be named in a rumor that brings Kuminga to Chicago because of that. But these other things, it just feels like people throwing shit at the wall to see what will stick, right? That's what it feels like to me, at least. We got Sag in the building, says, I would literally cry, not my GOAT. Y'all be calling people y'all GOATs. Like, I love Ayo too, but he's your GOAT? That's weird. Ayo is a true combo guard. Gives me Kirk Hinrich vibes, especially when he's hitting that catch and shoot three. Yeah, and that's where you want to see him have growth at. Yeah, fuck that not happening. Ayo staying home. Listen, Nando, I 100% agree with you. If the Bulls attach him with Vooch, I'm starting a riot. Man, if it takes moving Ayo Dosunmu to get off Vooch's contract, just keep him. Just keep him. Because what are we doing? What are we doing at that point? We got Vaughn in here, says, no thanks. I also don't think AK would seriously trade anybody like Ayo. When has he ever shown the ability to make a trade that he has no real competitive reason to? And I mean, and to go off that too, Vaughn, we heard that there were more teams at the trade deadline that were interested in Ayo than Kobe, and the Bulls were turning those trade calls down. So why are you taking them now? Unless you think you're getting something as far as a guard in the draft, I don't see why you would turn that down. Ayo Dosunmu staying. We're not doing nothing. Remember, Jerry does not do anything. It's not, but this isn't Jerry call. And the Bulls have made trades before. Like, y'all got to stop coming with that tackhead ass shit, bro. Alex Caruso about to win the chip. If the Bulls traded Ayo or Kobe, they will win the chip too. Bro, some of y'all do y'all activate y'all brains before you leave these comments or no? The problem with a lot of these Ayo rumors when they pop up is these media people don't actually watch him, and they constantly undervalue him in trade packages. Fine, that is a great, because everything that was mentioned here basically just talked about him as a defensive player. Like that we didn't see him as a starter last season and start coming on this season as a player that can give a lot, right? Flaccavelli says, no, I'm keeping Ayo unless they offer Jabari. Now, see, that is the type of move that I could understand, right? Like, I love Ayo Dosunmu. But if I doubt the Rockets would do that. That's a fantasy trade, right? If the Rockets came calling like, hey, we really need some perimeter help and we think Ayo maybe even be able to be our starting point guard, we got Jabari for you. All right, now you have my interest. I still need to know what the exact deal is going to look like. Can we get a Ken Whitmore off you too for some stuff? But now you have my interest. But other than that, and I get it, Ayo was a second-round pick. But like I say this all the time about Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo is one of those players that you take for granted when you're not winning, and the moment you start winning, you start looking for a player like Ayo Dosunmu. That's the way that I view Ayo personally. First of all, your name is Skidmark? That's hilarious. Hard pass on all these teams. Ayo is the most underrated player. He helps too much. And on a great contract. Ayo on the Rockets would definitely boost them, especially for the bench, but I don't want to see him go. That's a fact. Thank you. Listen, I love it when y'all bring in logic. He says, hey, let's keep fixing other teams like bloody legends. Meanwhile, our own mob still in shambles. Rookie stuff made on God. Isn't the front office meant to fix our team first? Clowns running the – well, I want to be clear here. None of this is coming from the Bulls media. So this, for all we know, these teams have made calls for the Bulls, and AK's been like, yeah, no, we're good. So let's not throw the Bulls front office under the bus yet, because – things like this, and I don't think the Bulls would leak this, right? So I don't think this is the Bulls front office making a call like, hey, can we get that Warriors, can we get that 2042nd pick and Jonathan Kuminga, can we get that? I don't think that's what this is saying, at least. I hope not. Bulls are just a field to pluck players from to the media nowadays. Everything they say Ayo can be on these other teams. He can be for us. Great point. Great point. Just joined, but that much interest for Ayo. This is concerning. Then again, we own by Jerry and Michael, two of the biggest R words, but they don't have anything to do with the day-to-day. They don't. They don't have anything to do with the day-to-day. They want us to sell off our players so bad and tank, but AK not doing that. Exactly. Exactly. Jaden Ivey would be a good pick up from for Ayo, but I don't want the Bulls to trade Ayo. Dallas and Detroit are the last two teams I want the Bulls to help. Bulls should keep Ayo unless it's for a star. Agreed. Frank, what the fuck are you talking about, dumbass? Yes, I am what? Use your words. If you're going to say something, then say it like a man, bitch. We got Lonzo and Trey Jones, and they want to say Ayo should be the guy. Hell no, F off Mavs. That's hilarious. That's funny. I seriously think motherfuckers don't know basketball when they advocate to trade Ayo from our team. I don't give a fuck. Well, it depends on what they're trying to advocate trading for, right? That's the thing to me. Like for Mr. Thumbs Up here, he says Jabari Smith. Like I can, as much as I love Ayo, I've said this before. Like there's nobody on this trade that should be untouchable. Maybe except Modest because he's a rookie. There's nobody who should be untouchable. But just because players aren't untouchable doesn't mean you trade them in stupid deals, right? There's a gap between that. People look at it and be like, well, nobody should be untouchable. Yeah, but dumbass, that doesn't mean we should trade them for fucking pennies on the dollar. Like, there's a large gap between those two things. Very large gaps between that. This Kuminga shit needs to stop. Hey, bro. I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all, bro. So much of the shit going on with the Bulls right now is linked back to this Kuminga shit. It doesn't make any sense, bro. Hope so, Haize. But truth is, I don't trust Acme as far as I could chuck him. Wouldn't trust that a lot to run a sausage sizzle, let alone fix this team. I mean, listen, to fix this team, it takes a lot. I will say that he has picked a direction and it started moving towards that, and we're looking better moving towards that direction. He just got to learn how to bring it home. But listen, I'm not saying anybody should forget him at all. DK Shed said, Haize, I ain't forgot Big Dog. Just been working. I still want to step up for that cameo. Oh, no worries, bro. If we get a really, really good deal like the Houston, that's fine. But if it's for like a bag of chips and my leftover Taco Bell, help, hard pass. Agree with you. Ayo Dosunmu, he should not. I'm sorry. No, Ayo should not be untouchable. But you should have a very, very high asking price. And I think those are different things, right? No, and again, I love Ayo. I want Ayo to be a lifelong Bull. But nobody on this team is untouchable. It just is what it is. When you're as far away as what you are, nobody's on the team's untouchable. But like I said, that doesn't mean you start selling low. And I think people confuse those two things. There are a lot of people that think, or they'll use the guise of, well, nobody should be untouchable to push forward a dumbass deal. That's not what we're here doing. That's not what we're doing. Ayo is a glue guy. He's a better version of Caruso. He's no less than 2 firsts. I can't say he's better than Caruso yet. He has to stay healthy to do so, which Caruso has had his own injury issues. But I love Ayo Dosunmu. He is a glue guy on this team. Absolutely. Every one of the Bulls' best lineups was with Ayo Dosunmu last year. And if it was one lineup, it could be looked at as maybe it was just an outlier. But when every one of your best lineups includes Ayo Dosunmu, it's kind of hard to overlook what he can bring. But that is why teams could be interested in him as well, right? Every time I join that Discord, I see dumbass Ayo trade. That's why I'm fed up. Hey, bro, I feel you on that. Definitely feel you. Coogee Boy, the kid says, Haize, my guy, love the channel. Keep up the solid work. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. Haize, what do you think about the Bulls drafting Fleming at 12 and Kobe B at the second round? I mean, listen, I love Fleming, but it doesn't seem like the Bulls are going to. I meant that Bulls will help Dallas improve. Oh, okay, we good then. My bad. So many people coming here with crazy shit. My bad, Frank. I can admit when I was wrong. I thought you was coming for my neck. I apologize, my boy. Sorry, guys. Ayo or Ball should be traded, ideally for draft capital. The team needs height, and in particular, interior defenders. Look at the teams in the playoffs. These teams have multiple power forward centers. Yeah, but look at teams in the playoffs. They usually have a lockdown perimeter defender. So, yeah, we can make that conversation. Like I said, and that's when you don't trade something that you're going to need for something that's missing right now and overlook, okay, what does that then create down the road? Just throwing tall people out there isn't going to help this Bulls team if you don't have shit on the perimeter. It's not. They always use the logic of, well, if we make a bad trade, at least we get a better pick. Bro, that's And that's stupid logic too, bro. Bulls Daily says, AK, well, in 2021, traded for DeMar and AC and Lonzo. Buckle up, that's funny. I mean, hey, we'll see. We'll see. Listen, no, and that's the thing. You can't take that. Nobody wants Patrick Williams. If you try to trade Patrick Williams right now, you're going to have to include a first-round pick. Nobody wants Patrick Williams. I was looking at the last decade of first-team and second-team rookie teams, and there's quite a few names that you wouldn't think would be in the second team, like Jamal Murray, SGA, Jaylen Brown. No, you would think. When you go back and look at, if you were watching, and I'm not saying you weren't. I'm saying if you were watching basketball at that time, it's not a surprise that they were on second teams. SGA was not a heavily used rookie. He was coming off the bench his rookie year and basically tried to use as a scorer when that's not just his only role. Jamal Murray, too. Like, Jamal Murray I think he was a starter his rookie year, but that Denver team was not really good. They weren't terrible, but they weren't really good. So it's not really surprising to me. He's a rare two-way guy on a team that doesn't sign or trade for two-way guys. There you go on that one, too. So we'll see what the future does hold, y'all. But I wanted to bring that one. I got the Warriors. The Warriors thing comes from a more legit source. Then I saw the other thing from the article, and I was like, all right, that's enough to run with as a quick live episode. So I wanted to run with it. But again, like I say, take everything with a grain of salt. We'll see kind of more what happens during things at the trade deadline, and we'll see what happens, man. But thank you guys for tuning in, especially in the middle of the day. You guys are amazing, man. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so is 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
A presentation of the Break Media.